Okay, today we have a fun video. We're going to be looking more, building off the last video, which was adding the task data into a project report. So we're going to be kind of building off that. So if you haven't seen that video, I recommend watching that, especially if you want to learn how to bring in the task data and kind of follow along with what we're doing. But so I have the report pulled up. As you can see, I've made some edits. There's colors now. So this is the same report that we built again in that last video. So this is a project report. Here we have task data that we've brought in using text mode. Then we've done some additional edits, adding the colors. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how we're able to do that. We used what's called ShareCol or share column, basically bringing multiple columns together into one to be able to let us bring in and change the colors and do what we're doing here. So before I get in and edit and show you behind the scenes, behind the curtain, I want to just explain what we're looking at. So the colors, the way we have it set up is when it's this grayed out color, that means that the task is complete and it's showing the actual completion date. So whenever that task was marked off, it will update with that actual completion date, mark it off as gray. So we know, for example, these 5 tasks have all been completed. When it's yellow, right now we have it yellow, means it's late or past due, or basically the planned completion date is in the past. And then right now when there's no color, we haven't done this one yet, but when there's no color, that just means it's neither the other two basically. So when it's no color, it means it's not complete and it's not late. So basically any task that has a due date that is either today or beyond means, and it's not complete, then right at the moment we have no color to it. So what we're going to do today is look at how we did this. We're going to add this color coding to this column. So I'll show you how to do that. And then we're also going to look at adding, let's say we wanted to add a color to tasks that are due in the future. We wanted to make it so, this had a color as well. Show you how to do that. So yeah, so let's jump right in. I'm going to go up to my report actions and edit. Okay, so let me go in here and you'll see here's that text mode. So it's definitely a bit more complicated than the last one. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy all this just to make it easier on myself as like I said, we're going to add all this to that last column, the success metrics. And so I don't want to write all this out. So I copied all that. And one thing I always point out is, so you'll notice you have these column dot two dot, and then all the information, and then column dot 3. So those different column numbers are the different columns that we're bringing together into one. And you'll see this share call is what I mentioned earlier. That's where basically that means you're bringing the columns together, right? So to make this a bit easier myself, I'm going to add a bunch of columns and I'm going to move them all over here for now. And I'll explain why I'm doing that in just a second. Let's see, how many do I have? Add one more just in case. Okay. So this now will be column 2. So if you notice, if I click over here, instead of it used to say column 2, now it says column 10. So when you're doing this, you need to be aware of which column you're starting at to make sure you have the number lined up correctly. And so since I had copied this when it was still column 2, now this right here will be column 2. So the way it starts 0, 1, 2, and so forth. So I'm going to go here, go to switch to text mode, edit text mode, and then I'm just going to paste this in. Okay. So there we go. So if I save that now, you'll notice I can get rid of this one. That was just my backup just in case. Now we have two the exact same. This starts at column 2 and this one starts at column 9 now because I got rid of that one. But you see now it brought all those columns together into one. And then what I want to do is I'm trying to actually use this column, right? I'm trying to edit this column. So I'm just going to go in here and copy this template task ID, and then report on success metrics. I'll just remember that. I'll come in here. So now the display name here will be, instead of kickoff meeting, will be report on success metrics. And then I'm just going to replace the template task ID with the other one that I copied, and there's 3. Okay. And then I'll hit done, and I'm going to move this over here. You'll notice the numbers changed again. Now I can get rid of this. So I'm just going to save it real quick just to show you, and then I'm going to get into how kind of what everything means. So there it is. You see it's working. So now let's go back in and kind of break down what's going on here. So display name, that's pretty self-explanatory. And that's going to be the header, right? And then, so each of these columns are going to be important for showing, or for the formatting and bringing in the right data the right way. So you'll notice for this first one, we have right here is where we have, okay, let's look at this. So this is the value expression. So if the template task ID, which is the task, and we have the 2 ampersands there, and the status is equal to complete, then put the actual completion date. Okay, so that's that grayed out one, and we're getting that grayed out color here. Okay, so this is where we're getting that style, the background color, and so on this one there's 2 because we're changing. If you notice, the text color was actually white, which is this, and then that background was that gray. And then if we move on, you'll notice there's this div on column 25. That's what's separating kind of this block in some ways. You can think of it from the next block, because on this next block is where we get the other background color. So this one, if you notice, this is saying, so similar if the template task ID is equal to, in this case, the report on success metrics task, and the status is not equal to complete on this one. So that exclamation point equal signs, how you say not equal to complete. And then we added another one, the planned completion date is less than today. So we have that $, all caps today, which is, that wild card, always bringing in today's date. So so always is up to date and correct. So if it's less than, in other words, if it's in the past, right? Then we want to output the planned completion date. And again, this is where we're bringing that color. We're coloring it right now. We're coloring it yellow. Then here's that div in column 28, and then you'll notice column 29 is the last one, and that's where we're bringing in just the there's no color coding. So you notice after this div, there's no this kind of line of the style with the background color, because there's no color right on the last this last value expression. So again, pretty self-explanatory now that we've gone through the others too. But so if it's that task and it's complete and it's not complete, right, and the planned completion date in this case is greater than or equal to today. So like I said earlier, bring in tasks, or this is where tasks are, the planned completion date is either today or in the future, right? In other words, it's not late. I'm going to output that planned completion date. Okay, so that's a bit of a breakdown of some of what's going on here in this text mode. And so let's change a few things just for fun. So for example, let's say for the late, so for this one, where it's less than today, so when the task is late, instead of yellow, we want it to be red. So I'm going to come over here. Let's say we want kind of this red color. It's going to copy the hex number or the hex code, come over here and change that. So now let's do that. Let's save and close. And there you go. So that's an example of, now instead of that yellow, it's that red. So now let's look at, okay, now we want to add a color here. We want this to maybe be kind of like a light green color. So let's edit this again. And what we're gonna do is go back in here, edit the text mode. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna first copy this. So you see the color. Well, I'm actually gonna do this one because I just don't want to change the text color per se. But this is column 26 where that color is. So I'm gonna start from the first column 26 down to the last one and just copy all this. Okay. And then I'm gonna go here, find the div, and that's 28. So I need to go after the last 28, which is right here. So I'm just gonna add a couple just to make it super clear. I'm gonna paste this in. Okay, so now we have this, but you notice obviously it's 28. I just copied what was above, so now it's 26. So what we need to do is change these and these so that they have the right number. But first, I actually forgot something. I'm going to cancel. We need to add a column and bring that over. So this is super important. If not, it would have, yeah, it wouldn't have worked. Because we're adding basically another column, right, to our ShareCol. Okay, so I'll go back in. Just go back to that real quick. Paste that here, and I'm just going to change these numbers real quick. Okay, so I changed all those. So now they're in the correct order and numbered correctly. Then let's come over here and bring in kind of like the slight green color. Copy that. Come back over here, and then we'll paste it there. Just gonna get rid of these spaces. Not necessary, they would get rid of each other. It would get rid of it automatically, but it's kind of like to do it. So we did that, and we'll hit done. We'll save and close. And there you go. So we added that green now to this, this on this column. If the plan completion date is today or in the future, then it'll show up green. And then one last thing I'll show you is when you're dealing with ShareCol, it can sometimes be easy to mess up a bit. So I just want to show you one thing. So you'll notice on each of these, column 29 ShareCol, column 28 ShareCol, so all of these have that ShareCol equals true. So, but you'll notice on this last one, we don't. So that's what's stopping it from bringing in that next column in with it. So just to give you an example of what would happen if we accidentally added it. So we have the due on date right here, right? So we do this ShareCol equals true on this column 30. We'll hit done, and you notice it's gone. It brought it over. I'll save and close. You'll see what's gonna happen. So it kept all the color coding, but it brought it in. So this is interesting. This is if you wanted to bring multiple multiple data points into one column. This is also a way to do that, is using the ShareCol option, bringing in columns together. And we'll look at a different video. I'll do a different video, getting more into that, different ways to format that. So you see this one is all like on top of right on top of each other. It's not clear at all. So that would not be ideal. So I'll make another video getting into that. So stay tuned. But I wanted to show you kind of what would happen there. So we're gonna fix that. Super easy. Fortunately, we're gonna come in here and go into 30, and we're gonna change this from true to false. Hit done, and there we go. That moved it back over there. Save and close, and now we're back to how it was. Okay, real quick, I almost forgot to show you. I wanted to also give an example of just what would it look like when you are actually doing your work. So let me just duplicate this. Okay, so again, these are ones that are completed, these are late, and so it's like, okay, let's go into this project and we're gonna mark off this task. So stakeholder interviews, we'll go in here, go to stakeholder interviews, we'll mark this as complete, Then let's go back here and refresh. And there you go. So now you notice that this has been grayed out and it's brought in the actual completion date, which is today's date, the 7th of November. And so yeah, that's just a quick live example to show you guys how this report updates as you're completing and updating your work in real time. So yeah, I know this was a bit of a longer video, but hopefully that's helpful. I will leave this code in the comments. So I learned on the last video, YouTube won't let me put the greater than less than symbol in the description for whatever reason. So I'll copy this and leave it in the comment. Hopefully there's no issue with how long it is. But yeah, so I'll do that in case you're trying to do the same thing. Again, obviously, when you do it, make sure you take into account the column number. So in this case, since this is column 2, again, 0, 1, 2, that's why it starts there. You see how those change. So you just want to, when you do it on your side, just make sure you update those accordingly. Then you can change, obviously, any of the other things. You want to change the colors, change the rules. You can, there's a lot you can do, but that's just one example. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you liked the video. Let me know in the comments what other things you would like to see, and I'll be happy to make a video. If you have any specific use cases that you're struggling with that you'd like me to make a video on, I'd be happy to do that. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one.